Hello professionals around the world, welcome to my channel. Online job interviewing has replaced physical interviews for the most part in the past 6 months. In this video, I will help you prepare for an online job interview. I will also give you some tips that should work in a virtual as well as in a physical setting so that you can go to that next job interview well prepared and confident. This is Adrienne here with Communications Plus, helping you communicate with clarity and confidence as you're shaping the world. If you're new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any practical tips. In this video, I will cover 5 topics. How to get yourself and your environment ready for an online job interview, how to get your technology ready, how to get into a positive mindset, what to research before your interview, and how to prepare for behavioral questions. Let's jump into it. At the end of this video, I have a bonus tip for you that I know you will find useful, so be sure to stick around. Now let's look at our first topic, you and your environment. The first consideration is your outfit. Of course, on an online job interview, it's only the top that shows. I suggest you put on something solid, something professional looking, but something that doesn't distract the eye, so that your interviewer can focus on you and what you're saying rather than being mesmerized by the pattern of your shirt. When we are online, what we are wearing from the waist down doesn't show. However, how we are feeling about our presence does show. I definitely believe that. So I suggest that you get ready completely, whether it shows on camera or not. I even like to wear my heels and put perfume on, but that might just be me. The next consideration when it comes to you and your environment is your background. Make sure that it's clean and organized, that it jives with the image that you'd like to project about yourself. It's harder to read body language through a screen, and we just have less information to go on when we interview online. So your interviewer inevitably will draw an opinion about you, not only based on what you say, but also what he or she sees on the screen behind you. And that's another reason why it's very important for you to get that all nice and organized. My next suggestion is that you have a pen and a notepad ready for your interview. I'm sure there will be some things said during the interview that you'd like to take notes on. It's going to be much less distracting for your conversation partner if you write on a notepad next to your computer rather than if you start to click on your screen. Since your interviewer may not see you taking those notes, if you look away from the camera, you might just want to say something, I'm writing down here what you're telling me, or I'm writing some related questions. That's why sometimes I lose eye contact with you. And then you can just take notes. Also be sure to be able to reference your cover letter, your CV, and your portfolio, if you have such, during the interview. You might want to have those on your desktop so that you can send them over to an interviewer, or possibly in some Google documents that you can share easily if you had not done that before the interview. In any case, just be sure that you can reference these things in a very timely fashion and you can share them with your interviewer upon request. My next tip is that you remove yourself from all distractions in your home. Our homes can be very distracting environments. That is the dog and the kids and the delivery guy and the neighbors, and all kinds of things are happening. It's where life is happening around us, right? And especially if you don't have a home office, you need to make a special point of removing yourself, at least temporarily, from these distractions. And my last tip might surprise you, and that is be on time. That's a biggie. I think we often make the mistake of thinking that, well, the interview is going to happen right here in my home, so how could I be late? But you actually could. Someone distracts you, or you start a task that takes a little bit longer than you had anticipated, and there you go. Already you might be late for your interview. So by being on time, I mean that you get yourself ready perfectly, get all the things ready that you need, and get to that virtual meeting room 5 minutes before the meeting starts. Meeting rooms usually open a little bit earlier than the appointed time. Be the first one there. You can just hang out and calm your mind and gather your thoughts. It will be a valuable time. Our next topic is getting your technology ready. There are so many different platforms that can be used for online interviews. Some of them are requiring a special plugin, some of them work on one browser but not the other. Anyway, there can be a host of special considerations depending on what platform the company is using, so be sure that you are familiar with this platform before the interview. It's a good idea to try it out actually. You could just get an account, sign up if you're not signed up yet, and speak with a family member or with a friend before your interview so that you know exactly where to click for what on this particular platform. And then that's one factor that will be taken out away from what can cause you nervousness before your interview. It's important that you're at ease and comfortable. Also test out your audio, your computer audio or the mic you're using or headset you're using, and also make sure that you know how to operate the audio once you're on the platform that will be used at the interview. You can test all these things ahead of time and get yourself all set up just fine by the time the real thing comes. Also make sure that your camera is ready and it's at the right height. It's a good idea to clean your lens. There, now we can see each other. Ideal height for your camera will be eye level or a little bit above. So if you're using a laptop, it's a good idea to put it on top of a stack of books or a box or something, just so that you lift it up a little bit and your interviewer doesn't look at you from the bottom up. That is not a complimentary view for most people. And plus it will be more comfortable to make eye contact, so to speak, with each other even through the camera. So lift up your computer, that will give your interviewer a complimentary view of your face. And now we are moving on to some tips that are equally applicable in the virtual as well as in the physical setting. My next advice is for you to get into an empowering mindset before your interview. When it comes to job interviews, I think we often feel powerless. We think of ourselves as having no choice, whereas the company or the HR professional whom we are talking to having all the choices. They have the money, they have the position, they can decide if they hire us or not. And this is true, but on the other hand, we also have a lot of choices. The interview is an opportunity for both parties to check each other out. Even if the company wants to hire you, you might not want to work for this company. You might not be happy with the salary they offer, or it might turn out that the position is actually a little bit different from what you had anticipated. So in any case, it's important to think of this interview as a connection, as a relationship between equal parties, rather than this helpless little mouse and this big powerful cat. Cat lovers out there, please excuse my analogy. Hiring is actually risky business. Depending on what country the company is in, there might be some very strict laws and regulations about how employees have to be treated. So once a company hires someone, it's not that easy to let go of that individual. The next topic I wanted to highlight to you in this video is the importance of doing some research before your interview. It's a good idea to research the company. What have they been up to recently? What does their blog say? What are some of their recent projects? How about projects? How about media attention? Have they gotten some media attention? Things like that. Check these out. There are websites for this. You can use Google. Google is our best friend. And it's very easy to find information about companies. Glassdoor is also a good place to go to. Indeed.com, company profiles, LinkedIn. Use all the free resources out there and learn about the company. The same thing about your interviewer. Learn a little bit about your interviewer. How long has she been with the company? What is her position? Has she published anything on LinkedIn or anywhere else? What is her role, etc. Learn a few basics. It will be helpful during the interview. Another aspect of the job that you should definitely do some research about is the salary. Of course, if this is your first interview, you are not going to get into salary negotiations right away, but you should know what the fair compensation or what the fair compensation range is for this particular job, and also you should have an idea about how much you would like to earn. Now, as a result of your research, I am sure some questions will arise in your mind. And at the end of the interview will be a time when you can ask these questions. In fact, it makes you look very good if you do have some intelligent questions to ask about the job and about the company. Have some specific questions to ask that not just anyone would know who had not read up on the company. That will show that you have a special interest in this job and in this company. You can also have some generic questions, such as a typical day on the job, or maybe you can ask your supervisor what his or her vision is for the team for the next 12 months, or things like that. And the last topic I wanted to touch upon in this video for you are behavioral questions. What are they and how to prepare for them? The usual interview questions will probably be asked, and you can get a list of them as a result of any old Google search. You can prepare for them. You know, the usual ones, the strengths, the weaknesses, the tell me about yourself, etc., etc. There is also a category of the so-called behavioral questions. These questions usually ask you to describe a particular situation and your behavior in this situation. For example, tell me about a time when you handled a high pressure situation at work. Or tell me about a time when there was a conflict between you and a coworker and how you handled this conflict. These type of questions are the behavioral questions. And a really excellent way to structure your answer is to describe the situation, describe the actions that you took, and then you describe the desirable results that were achieved as a result of your actions. So the structure again is situation, action, result. And here comes the bonus tip I mentioned at the beginning. According to a CNBC article that was published this week, one of the most annoying mistakes that people make in online interviews is looking at themselves on the screen rather than looking in the camera. When you see yourself on the screen, it is compelling to look at yourself and to look at your conversation partner on the screen. But actually, to your conversation partner, it will feel like and look like you're making eye contact if you look into your own camera. That's a little hard to do. That's another thing to practice maybe before your interview. It is very important to maintain eye contact even when we are in an online environment. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and let me know in the comments if you're a job seeker right now. Are you looking for a job? And if so, what would you like to do? I'd love to hear from you. Take care now.